What's happened is that we've taken that which is central to our existence, we've taken that to be an entity, like a person. So all this process of satsang is just clarifying what is it that is at the center of my existence. Is that personal? And we've been trained and taught by our mind and those around us that that is an entity with the name which has been given to you. That that is an entity with the name that you have, supposedly. But that which is your existence is consciousness itself. That is what we are coming to see. There is nothing individual or personal truly about my existence unless I believe there is, unless I pretend there is. And this power of belief, power of pretense, belongs to consciousness, and therefore it seems very strong itself. That's why for some of us, we've been together for a long time, and yet the power of this conditioning can seem to reiterate itself over and over again. And as this conditioning reiterates itself, then you hear this voice in satsang which says, don't listen to that one for a bit. Listen to this voice. I was telling somebody the other day that it's very uncomfortable to sit on two chairs at the same time. So if you're listening both to this voice in satsang and to your mind's voice, as if both could be true, and trying to reconcile both of them, then it becomes a very painful, spiritual journey full of struggle. Because there is no reconciliation really between the mind's voice and this voice. Because the premise itself is completely different. The premise of the mind's voice is that there is an individual entity called a person at the center of this equation, at the center of your existence. And the premise of this voice is that this is a monologue within one consciousness. So how will we reconcile these two? That which seems to have a limited entity at the center of the equation, and that which has unlimited beingness as the basic premise. Can these two be reconciled? Only little bit we'll give it if we need to. Only to the extent that I am not involved in that equation when the mind is saying something. So the mind is saying the coconut is green. If you want to give it some credit, which even that is not required, even that labeling is not ultimately required. But if you want to give it some credit, you can give it that much credit that something phenomenal it is interpreting and reporting about. But there is no truth about the reality of what I am to be found in the words of the mind. So this is why it can seem like a bit of a struggle. The spiritual journey can seem like it is frustrating, can seem like it is a struggle, because we are trying to comfortably sit on two chairs, the mind chair and the intuition chair, or the Sadguru chair. Now, if it was just a question of two different belief systems, if the mind has a belief system, there's individual I, and the master has a belief system that there is no individual I. If this were just belief system, then it would be a clash of belief system with no actual true recognition. But the master is not saying that I have a belief system that you must follow. The master is only asking whether we have validated what the mind is saying about us. Have we really checked when we pick up the idea I? Have we really truly checked that this I is true, is real? Is that too much to ask for? Is that too much to ask for? If we spend our entire life with the I at the center of this life, we spend the entire life with the I at the center of this life. The I, me, mine, myself. What is that thing? I, me, and myself at the center of this life. Then is it not a fair question to truly check what is this I? Another beautiful thing we've been recognizing over the past few weeks, is that the mind loves to ask why. It loves to ask why. Why is this happening to me? Why am I not getting it? Why does nobody understand me? So why is a favorite question. WHY is a favorite question of the mind. And somehow, just with the change of one alphabet, it becomes the least favorite question of the mind. Why is WHY the favorite question and WHO not the favorite question, the least favorite question? It's a question of just one alphabet. It likes to find out why, the meaning of things for an individual entity. Why is my life like this? Why can't I find happiness? What about the who? If you look at all our reports, and I get quite a few reports every day. So if you look at all our reports, if you could replace all the why questions with the who question, why? Why am I saying this? You can ask this why question. Why? Because most of our questions are about this identity, me, sitting at the center of it, and then saying, why is this like this? The basis itself is an figment of our imagination. The basis itself, the central standpoint itself, is imaginary. Therefore, all the explanations will also be fiction, isn't it? If the basis itself is fiction, then all the explanation, all the interpretation will be fiction. So when we come to satsang, actually we are saying that we're done with fiction. We want to know what is truly real. And before I can know what is truly real about the world, then I know what is truly real about myself. So even before we come to these ideas of whether the world is real or unreal, whether it is Maya or whether it is just an appearance, Can we come to a recognition of who we are? And the rest of the insights, they can follow. And sometimes we share in satsang. But that is not primary to what is being spoken about. Primary is, what is it that I am? And this question is always super fresh. This question, who am I, is always very fresh. It doesn't seem like that sometimes because you quickly go to a mental answer of it. There is no moment of self-recognition which is just stale. There is no moment of self-recognition. Oh, that was it. That's why the question itself is very beautiful every time it is asked. If you're using it as a tool for our own looking, then it is impossible to be jaded with this question, actually. If you use it as a tool for some sort of a mental knowing, yeah, I know it's awareness, or I know I'm the absolute something, then it becomes stale. And the mind resistance can seem strong. Oh, it's the same old stuff. For 4 years, we've been speaking about the same old stuff. Can we find one moment of self-recognition, which in the recognition itself is not pristine, not in the interpretation of it, but in the recognition itself? What are you right now? And if you don't worry about the interpretation for a bit, isn't it so sublime? Prior to a sublime experience, a sublimity before experience. If something is being seen, ask who sees that? What is the shape of that which sees any shape? So you say one thing, like a school child, you see, getting off from the school bus, doesn't say, I don't want to run home because it's the same home, I know. You see, it's always running home. Just like that, the self-inquiry. We look at it from this place of recognizing and not interpreting. Doesn't matter what your report is about it. What is your taste of yourself?